Hello, hello. You're listening to Answering the Inner Call. I'm your host, beautiful soul. This is Malika Lee. I'm so happy to be here with you again today, or for the first time if you're just tuning in. Normally, I like to start off with song, but if you've heard some of the other episodes, mainly on point 5 on rest of this series, I've gotten a dose of my own medicine and lost my voice and wasn't feeling well for a little while because I wasn't resting enough. So the irony of that is not lost on me because I like to pay attention and learn from these things. And so I am going to take a deeper dive than I have in the first two parts on rest. And this third part is going to be looking at the rest and the paradox between rest and busyness. So, and taking a slightly different look at it. So I'm going to try to make this short and sweet. Thank you again for tuning in and spending some time with me. Okay, so in the last episode, when I was talking about being a workaholic, or I'm a recovering workaholic, and how my value was intertwined with my accomplishments or things that I could do for others. And I don't think I'm alone in this. If you resonated with that message, or if you haven't heard it yet, please check it out and just see if it speaks to you or not. I would love to hear your feedback and comments on that. Okay, moving right along. So the other part that came up for me as I was talking about my challenges in the past with rest and being a workaholic, what also came up is the benefit of being a workaholic and why rest also can be difficult for some. And that is just like, a workaholic implies an addiction. An addiction is something that we can use to distract, to numb, to cover up something that's underneath the surface. And so one of the things that came up for me, I remember a time when, I was inspired to leave a job and I didn't have another job waiting for me. And I remember just like being exhausted. I would sleep I slept for days and days and days and days and days. And things started to come up for me that were not in my conscious mind because I was so preoccupied with, the job and the this and the that and whatever. And so when I don't want to say forced to rest because I elected into it and it was my choice, but when I gave myself permission to have that space to rest, and resting is, I want to say it's a God-given right for us to be able to sleep, but there's also privilege in rest. I had money saved and I could have that time of resting without as much distraction and obligations as some other people do. So I want to acknowledge that. But my point is that when I had that space, it's like a retreat. When I had that space of stillness, of rest, a lot of the things that I avoided, didn't face, address, or even know or realize were going on because of the busyness, it's like started to come up. So it's the equivalent of, on the top of the water, there's the waves and a lot of movement on top of the water. But as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, the stiller or calmer the water can get, minus the undertows, etc. So what happened was, as I started to get still and rest, all the things that had dropped down to the bottom that I was staying on the surface and avoiding started to come into my awareness to be healed and dealt with. And that takes us to another point on the star that I've spoken about earlier, which was or is doing the healing work and the emotional work and the heart work. But I just wanted to speak to that part about if you find it hard to rest, that there may be some other things going on like avoidance and busyness to keep you from facing some other things. So I'm just going to say that for right now. If you think that that is you, if you've been afraid to face, to be still enough to face some things and maybe some hard truths that are going on in your life, really whether you face them or acknowledge them or not, and you would like support around that, that is something that I love doing, is supporting women especially, but people and souls that are ready to do that work and doing that work and facing those things and healing. Because what ended up happening, the benefit of the rest and then doing the work, then meant I really could rest because I had cleared, and this takes time, it didn't happen overnight, but that I had cleared a lot of the unrest that I had not been facing. And so then now I can say that, I have periods of rest where I can really rest and deepen into that stillness and peace within myself because I was able to do the work and face the things that came up when I had avoided them in the past. So the takeaway from here is if you're having an issue with rest, my spirit just said, the question is now, what are you running from? What is this busyness trying to hide or distract you from? And if and when you are ever ready to stop running, to stand and surrender and to do some work and face some truths and get your life in alignment, reach out to me. I'll have a link in the bio for a consult and to have some support to move through these things and to reach goals and to get clarity much faster than you can usually on your own. So if that sounds good to you, you know how to find me for a 30+ minute consult to see if we would do well working together, if we're a good fit. And with that, I bid thee farewell for now. Much love and get some rest, y'all. Slow down, get some rest when you need it. Peace.